Welcome. My name is Washonda Jones, and I am an instructor here at UMA in the MBC program. I've been with UMA for 7 years now, and this week in ME1160, we will be discussing word parts and word structures. Medical word parts are the key to understanding medical terminology. Understanding word parts and how they work together to form medical terms will reinforce your word building skills. Most of the words in medical terminology are of Latin origin. Others are of Greek origin in other languages. There are 4 word types or word parts. You have the word root, the combining form, the suffix, and the prefix. When you combine the word parts, you can form a medical term. Word roots cannot stand alone. Basic meaning of the word usually describe the part of the body that is involved. Suffixes are placed on the end of the word root. Prefixes are placed at the beginning of the word root. Combining forms include a vowel, usually an O, added to the end of a word root. It also aids in pronunciation. In combining form, 2 word roots, a combining form is added to the first word root. Combining form is used at the end of the second word root if the suffix begins with a vowel. Let's now take a look at suffixes. They are added at the end of a word to complete the term. Many indicate a procedure, condition, disorder, or a disease. Prefixes are added at the beginning of a word. Usually indicates location, time, or number. Some examples would be prenatal. Pre means before. Nate means birth. Al means pertaining to. So if we put the words together, the word parts, prenatal, the time and events before birth. Let's now look at some related combining forms. You see here we have adrenal for adrenal glands, gonads, testicle for male testicles, ovaro for female ovaries, pancreas for pancreatic islets, parathyroid for the parathyroid glands, pineal for pineal gland, pituitary or pituit for pituitary gland, thyme for thymus, and thyro or thyroid for the thyroid gland. Looking at your functions of your endocrine system, the production of hormones that work together to maintain homeostasis. Hormones are chemical messengers secreted by endocrine glands directly into the bloodstream, reaching target cells and organs. They also regulate activities of specific cells and organs. Looking at your structure of the endocrine system, first you have your endocrine glands. They produce hormones. They are also ductless. You have 13 major glands. You have 1 pituitary gland, 1 pineal gland, 1 thyroid gland, 4 parathyroid glands, 1 thymus, 1 pancreas, 2 adrenal glands, and 2 gonads. You see here from the picture where all of your endocrine system glands are located. You see that your glands are located throughout your body. Let's first discuss the pituitary gland. It's located below the hypothalamus in the brain. You have two divisions. You have an anterior lobe and a posterior lobe. It secretes hormones controlling the activity of endocrine glands. It responds to stimuli from neurohormones to maintain appropriate levels of hormones. This next diagram shows you in relation to where the pituitary gland is located to your other glands. Secretions of pituitary gland from the anterior lobe, the adrenocorticotropic hormone, also abbreviated ACTH, stimulates growth secretions and adrenal cortex. The follicular stimulating hormone, abbreviated FSH, stimulates secretions of estrogen and growth of ova in the ovaries of females. It also stimulates production of sperm in the testicles of males. You also have the secretion of your growth hormone, which regulates growth of bone, muscle, and other body tissues. It's also known as somatotropic hormone. You also have your lactogenic hormone, abbreviated LTH, and this stimulates and maintains secretion of breast milk in the mother after childbirth. You also have the luteinizing hormone, abbreviated LH. It stimulates ovulation in females and stimulates secretion of testosterone in males. Melanocyte stimulating hormone increases production of melanin, causing darkening of skin. And then you have your thyroid stimulating hormone, abbreviated TSH, and it stimulates secretion of hormones by the thyroid. Next, you have your antidiuretic hormone, abbreviated ADH, and it's secreted by the hypothalamus and is stored in the pituitary gland. It helps control blood pressure by reducing the amount of water excreted through your kidneys. Lastly, we have oxytocin, abbreviated OXT. It stimulates uterine contractions during childbirth, controls postnatal hemorrhage, and stimulates flow of milk from the mammary glands. You'll see oxy means swift and toxin means labor. Let's next take a look at the pineal gland. It's located in the central portion of the brain. The functions and secretions. The secretions influence sleep-wakefulness cycle, also called the circadian cycle. Melatonin is the hormone responsible for this cycle. On this diagram, you can see the relation of the pineal gland to your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland. Next, we have our thyroid gland. It lies on either side of your larynx, just below the thyroid cartilage. The functions of the thyroid gland are to regulate your body's metabolism and to influence growth and functioning of your nervous system. Secretions from your thyroid gland. You have two primary hormones to help regulate metabolic rate and affect growth and rate of function of many body systems. Thyroxine is one of the secretions, abbreviated T4. Triiodothyroxine, abbreviated T3, is another one of the secretions from your thyroid gland. The rate of secretion controlled by the thyroid stimulating hormone is produced by either the anterior lobe of the anterior pituitary gland. Other secretions from the thyroid gland: calcitonin, which works with the parathyroid hormone, and it decreases calcium levels in the blood and tissues by moving calcium into storage in bones and teeth. 4 glands embedded in the posterior surface of the thyroid gland. These glands' functions regulate calcium levels. They secrete parathyroid hormone, abbreviated PTH. And this hormone works with calcitonin to regulate calcium levels in the blood and tissues. You can see from this diagram where your parathyroid glands are located in relation to your thyroid, your thymus, and your heart. Let's next take a look at your thymus. Your thymus is located near the midline in the anterior portion of the thoracic cavity, posterior to your sternum and superior to your heart. The functions of the thymus is to help develop the immune system before birth and in childhood. Doing this, its reduced function occurs after puberty as it turns into fatty tissue. Secretions from the thymus: thymosin, which stimulates maturation of lymphocytes into T cells. Let's next look at your pancreas. Your pancreas functions as part of your digestive system as well as your endocrine system. Your pancreatic islets have the endocrine function. Function of those pancreatic islets is to control your blood glucose levels and glucose metabolism throughout the body. Secretions of the pancreatic islets is glucose, which is the basic form of energy used by the body. Secretions of the pancreatic islets: glucagon, which is a hormone secreted by alpha cells in response to low levels of blood glucose. It also increases glucose level by stimulating liver to convert glycogen into glucose to be released into your bloodstream. Another secretion of the pancreatic islets is insulin. This is a hormone secreted by beta cells in response to high levels of blood glucose. It allows glucose to enter the cells to be used as energy. It also stimulates the liver to convert glucose into glycogen for storage when additional glucose is not needed. Let's now look at your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are located on the top of each kidney. The outer portion is known as adrenal cortex, and the middle portion is known as the adrenal medulla. You see here in this diagram how the adrenal gland sits on top of your kidneys. You also see that outer layer known as the adrenal cortex and the middle layer known as the adrenal medulla. We'll now look at functions of the adrenal glands. They control electrolyte levels within the body. They also help regulate metabolism and interaction with your sympathetic nervous system in response to stress. Secretions of your adrenal cortex include androgens, which are sex hormones secreted by the gonads, adrenal cortex, and fat cells. Corticosteroids, or steroid hormones, which help regulate sodium and water levels by increasing sodium reabsorption and potassium excretion by your kidneys. Cortisol has an inflammatory action. Another hormone which is secreted by the adrenal medulla is epinephrine, which stimulates your sympathetic nervous system in response to the physical injury or mental stress. Norepinephrine is also secreted by the adrenal medulla and is released as a hormone by the sympathetic nervous system. Let's next look at your gonads. In female, these are ovaries. In the males, these are testicles. The gametes are producing glands and also reproductive cells. The gonads secrete hormones responsible for development and maintenance of the secondary sex characteristics that develop during puberty. Puberty is the physical changes by which child's body changes to become an adult and capable of reproducing. Estrogen is another secretion of your gonads. They are secreted by your ovaries. Estrogen is important in development and maintenance of the female secondary sex characteristics in regulation of your menstrual cycle. Progesterone is released during the second half of your menstrual cycle. Gonadotropin is a hormone that stimulates your gonads. Androgens are primarily testosterone secreted by gonads, the adrenal cortex, and your fat cells. Androgens promote development and maintenance of male sex characteristics. Testosterone is a steroid hormone secreted by your testicles and adrenal cortex. It stimulates development of male secondary sex characteristics. Estrogen and testosterone are present in males and females both, but in different amounts depending on the gender. Specialized types of hormones have different chemical structure and are not secreted by the endocrine glands directly into the bloodstream. These are known as steroids. They are secreted by the endocrine glands or artificially produced as medications to relieve swelling and inflammation. Anabolic steroids, man-made substances chemically related to male sex hormones, used to treat hormone imbalance in men and to help the body replace muscle mass caused by disease. They may be used illegally by athletes to build muscle mass. Hormones secreted by the fat cells are leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is a protein hormone involved in the regulation of the appetite. It acts on the hypothalamus to suppress appetite, and burn fat stored in your adipose tissue. Ghrelin is produced in the GI tract and is referred to as the hunger hormone. Neurohormones are produced and released by neurons in the brain and delivered to various organs, tissues throughout the bloodstream. Medical specialists who help take care of your endocrine system are known as endocrinologists. They specialize in diagnosing and treating diseases and malfunctions of the endocrine glands. You also have certified diabetes educators. These educators are qualified to teach people with diabetes to manage their disease. Thank you for listening today. This includes the lecture for ME1160, dealing with word parts and the endocrine system.